Hey guys, this is Stephanie and I'm Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. It is freezing in my basement tonight, so I'm drinking hot tea. It is orange hot tea, which is actually my favorite hot tea. I love orange, blood orange, any orange makes me happy. It warms me up. Does tea do that to you guys? Gets my whole body warm. I drink my coffee in the morning. I'm running hot for like hours. And I don't know how Kat over at Brews and Roots stands there or even sits there and holds this mug the whole time. I'm like, my mug's heavy and full of something hot. I'm gonna set it down. Okay, so today I am going to be talking about my worst reads of 2019. It'll be great. So I only have 5 books I'm talking about today, which is good because I'm kind of trying to do a top 5 in each of my categories. Otherwise, my videos go on forever. But I really only had 5 that were terrible worst reads. So coming in at number 5, and I did rank them this year, is How to Buy a Love of Reading, a novel by Tanya Egan Gibson. And this actually isn't even mine. I got a library copy and it was horrible. So I don't know if this should count on my list. It is the only book I DNF'd last year. I don't really keep track of my DNFs. I guess I could make a Goodreads like tag or file or whatever, you know what I mean, that says books that I DNF'd, but I haven't done that yet. But I could, I guess. I don't DNF a ton of books. I never quite know to hold on just a little bit longer or if it's just like blah, because there have been quite a few books. Actually, 2 of the books that I talked about in my best reads were ones that were pretty slow for like the first half of the book. And then it was a great payoff. It ended up in my best reads. So you never know. I did not feel that way with this book. I have read maybe a quarter of it. Maybe. If that. I was confused almost the whole time. This was a book club pick. And it sounds like it'd be a really great book. Like I love the title of it. And the premise is a girl is like her parents for her 16th birthday decide that they're going to have a book written about her life story or something like that. And then she supposedly learns to love reading. That is not at all what this book is about. So I was told by my book club friends because I didn't read it. It was just horribly boring and confusing. None of the characters were likable. They're all like the super rich kids and they're teenagers. They're like 15 and 16. So they're so rich. Their parents don't know like what to spend their money on. I don't know because I've never had that problem before. I've never had so much money. I've been like, what do I spend it on? I don't know. Maybe I could get a nice British accent with all my money. Yeah, I don't know what people... I can't understand that. So maybe that's why I didn't understand this book is because I've never had so much money. I've been like, I'm bored and I don't know what to do. And I have money. It's weird to me. So I stopped reading it because it was kind of a piece of crap. However, 2 people in the book club finished it. And they also said, steaming pile. Oh crap. So I do not feel bad putting this on the list at all. I don't want to spoil the end, but nothing happens. And then somebody kills themselves. And it didn't make sense like at all with the character. And it was weird and it wasn't very good. So I would not read this book if I were you. And actually, like I said, one of the book club girls gave me this copy because I have a bag of books that I'm getting rid of that I usually just have over there. And the book club girls will go through the bag sometimes and be like, what are you getting rid of? I want this. And I'm like, go for it. It's all yours. Otherwise, I go a few times a year to my local bookstore and like swap books for credit and stuff like that. So she gave me this book to put in the bag, but I don't even know if they're going to want it. Coming in at number 4 would be The Alice Network by I Don't Care Who, because it was a really bad book. It was a terrible, terrible book. It's supposed to be historical fiction, and this was like either a Reese Witherspoon book or an Oprah Winfrey book. I don't know what it was, but it was somebody's acclaimed book, and it was acclaimed terrible. The cover is nice. It's a nice looking cover. Judging by the cover, I'd be like, yes, this looks like a historical fiction book I think I'd like. I was wrong. I didn't like it. Basically, this one, you have 3 people you're following. I think we like rotate on chapters. And there is an old lady who was like a spy during World War I. And during World War II, it sounds like she did a lot of drinking and hating of herself. And she is found by a young American girl who is pregnant and has found herself in a delicate situation. And she's just determined to find her cousin who's over in France. And she has to be okay France got the crap bombed out of it, kids. So what are you thinking? You can't will somebody to be okay. Whatever. And then there's a dude who works for the crotchety old lady and buys her booze, and then is oddly attractive somehow, though he needs to bathe. Never understood that part. And is attracted to the young girl, and she's attracted to him. And, oh, he could be my baby daddy. And then they go tromping around France looking for her cousin. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, towns weren't abolished. Like after World War II, there wasn't a huge fallout. Like, it took forever for Europe and England to recover from having a war in their backyard. Like, come on. So I'm going to assume this woman did zero research, has probably not left her bedroom, would be my guess, because this book is so inaccurate. And I've read a lot of World War II history. This one, not good, not well written. And even if you're like, well, look past the history part, just look at the characters. No. Look at the plot. No. Look at the cover. Wasn't good. Sliding in at number 3, we have A Cure for the Common Universe by Christian McKay Heidecker. I would change my name and not put that on a book, but whatever. This was yet another book club pick. However, this was my book club pick, so I can't get too upset because I was the one who presented it for the taking, and it was horrible. The premise of this one is that a boy ends up going to like a video game rehab because he plays too many video games. He doesn't understand real life and how to interact with people. So he gets put into this rehab for people who have video game addictions. Sounds pretty fun, right? No, because the whole rehab is like a game in and of itself. It is like you get points for doing the things. You get points for physical activity. You get points for working as a team. You get points when you're nice to people. You lose points when you're mean to people. You lose points when you don't win the competition. And as fun as that sounds, that is not how you would get somebody who is addicted to video games to stop their addiction. Like, this is not a good treatment center. This is what we would call a bad treatment center, a center that is reinforcing the bad habits and addictions that this person already has. So you think about it and you're like, that's terrible. Like, why would you put a teenager into a situation to make him more competitive, to make him focus even more on the whole winning is everything? Like, this is just a bad idea. The whole thing is a bad idea. And then nothing comes of it. Like, nothing really happens. Some of the stuff they do in the treatment facility is kind of interesting and a little fun, but nothing actually happens. And then at the end of the book, nothing is actually resolved. Like, the kid is a crap bag at the front of the book, and he's a crap bag at the end of the book. Some of the characters that are in the middle that are kind of are just the same way at the end of the book. So nothing happens in a book that something was supposed to happen in a bad situation in which nothing came about. I know that didn't make sense, but welcome to this book. Nothing made sense. Coming in at number 2, we have Sabriel by Garth Nix. I hated this book. I was supposed to love this book. This is like 90s fantasy. And I was supposed to love this. People talk about this book and they're like, it's so great. I love Garth Nix. I want to have his babies. Whatever. It was not good. The plot never happened. The last like maybe quarter of the book, something happened. But the first 3/4, and why I didn't DNF this, I don't know. Nothing happened. Like, I tried to read it. I couldn't read it. And then I tried to listen to it. And it took me 4 attempts to listen to it and to get through it. And maybe that's another reason why I didn't like it, because maybe I was like, oh, I broke it up basically into 5 parts over the course of like 6 months to try and read this. But it just wasn't good. So the premise of this book is there's a girl named Sabriel or Sabriel, I'm not sure which one it is, whose father is death, called Abhorsen. Now, this is also like an Australian book, so maybe there's some Australian lore in there that I don't understand. That's possible. That might make me like it better. But he dies or goes missing, so she goes to the other side of that's never explained, to find him, to make sure he's not dead. Because if he dies, she has to become Abhorsen, and she becomes death, and for some reason she doesn't want to do that. She's like 17, 18. We don't know why she doesn't want to do it. We don't know why it gets passed on. A lot of things are never explained as well. And then this cat comes and he like aids her, but he's actually kind of crappy at the same time. And he like sets her up to fail sometimes. And like, he's the kind of cat that like pulled the chair out from behind her when she's trying to sit down, stuff like that. Like, I mean, he's just a cat, let's be honest. However, he talks and he knows everything and he laughs at her and he doesn't tell her things. It's not good. And then they fly in a literal paper airplane to another place and they meet a guy who was like dead, but then he wasn't dead. And then there's a love interest. And then the one thing that happens in the whole book happens and it ends, and I don't remember how it ends. I just remember reading it and being like, are you serious? That's it? So I didn't like this book. It was so disappointing and it was so not good, and I will not continue with this. And this, with all the other books that I have here, are going back into that bag after I'm done waving them around like a crazy person, and they're going to go to a different home to somebody who likes them because I don't. So there's that. And coming in at number 1, which if you guys have watched many of my wrap-ups this year, you probably know, is going to be Damsel by Elena K. Arnold. This one is gorgeous. Look at that cover. It's so pretty. I almost want to keep it for the cover, but this is literally possibly the worst book I have ever read in my entire life. I read this during the reading rush, and I remember just being like, this has something redeeming about it, right? I think I got it in a book box, and I thought, oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to read it, and it was not good. Oh, it has a signed nameplate that I can burn. Basically, this is about a girl who is a damsel, and she is saved by this prince, and then she gets to become the queen and the princess, but she's unsettled and she doesn't understand what's going on, and we don't understand what's going on either because the writing's not good, and she has moments of anger, and she's always hot, and she doesn't understand things, and she's so confused. And that makes sense because we're all confused. Anybody who read this, confused. And the whole point is like the damsel saves herself. Like that's the whole point of the whole story. So I'm actually going to spoil this one. I'm going to spoil this one because I'm going to hope that a bunch of you guys aren't going to read this, because you could save yourself a few hours of, and then, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I'll save it. So I will go gray right now. And when I'm not gray, I'm done spoiling. But you can listen to the spoilers because I don't think you should read this book. Okay, so here it is. This is the thing about the book. So we start the scene. The book starts with this prince, and he's going to slay this dragon. And they're really vague and flowery, weird descriptions, and it's not very good. First things first, like the second page, they say something about his yard. And all I was like is, his yard? Are they talking about like his dong? Like they're talking about his penis, right? Is that what they're talking about? No, this is a YA book. They wouldn't casually. They did. And I just was like, that's stupid writing. But okay. And then they continue to talk about he adjusts his yard. He does this to his yard. You wish it was a yard. This was terrible. This was terrible. And then they continue every chapter, every other chapter maybe. There's some, like, I don't know if she thought the writing was manly. Like, let's talk about his manhood, because that's manly. It's not manly. It's not necessary. 100% of this book is not necessary. Let's just start with that. In addition to which, so then he goes and he kills this dragon, and then, oh, she shows up, and you jump to the next scene, and she's like in the carriage, and she's like, I don't remember anything. I have no memories at all. And he's like, I know you don't. You're going to be my wife. So bad. And that's not the first time that you want him dead. No. He takes her to the castle, and she meets the queen, and the queen's like dying, and she's like, I'm so hot. I want to look at the sunshine, open my windows, and things are going to kill you. You don't know who you are. And she's like, I don't know who I am, and I don't know what's going on. None of us know what's going on. And she's very attracted to jewels and bright, shiny things for some reason. Then she runs away, and then somebody finds her and practically rapes her. And then when she goes and tells her husband to be the prince, he's like, that's okay. What? That's not okay. And then another time they're in their little carriage and they're going to some, I don't know what thing. And he's like, hey, why don't you lift up your skirts and, I can slip you in my yard. And she's like, I don't think we're supposed to do that. And he's like getting up on her. The carriage stops so he can do what he wants. And he's about to rape his fiance. Again, not okay. This is not okay. Why would you write this? Why? Because you want to make him terrible? I think we already had that. From the fact he talks about his yard all the time, which usually is a compensation problem, but whatever. This was terrible. After that, I don't even remember. She starts to realize, oh my gosh, I think I was the dragon. I think I was the dragon you slayed. But wait, you slayed me. What's the deal? So in this world, the prince has to go and kill a dragon. So the first thing he hits it with is, I don't know, his glare. And then the second thing is his sword. And then he pulls his pants down and he puts his penis where he cut. I am not exaggerating. You think I am, but I'm not, because it's that horrible. He basically has sex with a cut in the dragon. I had to go back and reread it because I was like, surely not. Nobody would actually write this, right? Wrong. Somebody wrote this and on purpose, and it was in a book box, and it's YA. No, this is bad. And he's revealing all this to her, and he's like, this is how I killed you, and this is how I made you, and this is why you have no memories. Ha 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 ha. And she picks up a sword and she like kills him, and she's like, you're a dick. And then she somehow gets wings and like flies out the window and becomes a dragon yet again, which she's much happier as a dragon. So the whole point is that the damsel saves herself. Great point. Bad story. Write a different story with the same point. Any different story. Anything's better than this. Anything. This is horrible. So now I'm done. And if you watched it, you know it's horrible. And you know why it's horrible. And I hope you never read it because it's horrible. So those are the worst books that I read this year. Gosh, I'm in such a bad mood now. I hate filming these videos because it puts me in such a terrible mood. And Mark's going to be home soon. He's going to be like, why are you so grumpy? And I'm going to be like, oh. He'll watch this video in like a week and he'll be like, oh, I get it now. Though probably he probably knows. Like probably say, I was talking about Damsel. He read a page of it and he was like, this is bad writing. And I'm like, and then some. Bad content and bad writing. It's like a double header. So that's it. The 5 worst books that I have read last year with Damsel, with a very shiny first place with that one. I just need to decide what to do with that book. I don't even want to like destroy it. I don't want to waste the match. It was terrible. Please feel free to comment down below if you've read any of these books. And if you like them, that's great for you. Maybe you could explain to me why you like them and I could expand my mind a little. Or you can tell me down below the worst book you read this year and maybe we can have more to bond over. Who knows? Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, feel free to laugh your butt off at the fact that I finished a book I should have DNF'd on first page or just never picked up. Or already set on fire or something. Whatever. Have an awesome day. I'll be back with more wrap-up videos soon. And you guys take care. Bye-bye. It's not YA. This is like fodder for my fire.